Okay, I wanted to do a quick video on this guy, Eric Dubay. I was led to a comment on his page where he says, well, he makes a response to someone saying that he is a Jesuit coadjutor. And he says, "Hey, yes, thanks, Simon. It's all the Jesuits crowd like to omit the fact that the first three Jesuit generals were all Jews along with the first 10 popes. They all wear little Jew hats, worship their Jewish God, and perform mock blood flesh-eating rituals with Jesus' flesh blood. Meanwhile, Christians are being gatekeeped into believing the Jesuits are the head of the conspiratorial capstone. They are not." He gives a link. So I responded to this whole comment and just absolutely refuted him. I quoted him when he said, "The first three Jesuit generals were all Jews. Francis Borgia was not a Jew, you just made that up, and neither was Ignatius Loyola. He was an ethnic Basque." And I quote out of the Journal of the Anthropological Institute of Great Britain and Ireland, Volume 5, page 18. Quote, "The founders of Jesuitism, Loyola, Xavier, and others were Basques, and Basques are still among the best and most fervent missionaries of the Roman Catholic Church. Loyola, even in physiognomy and physique, was a typical Basque and preserved his Basque habits until his death." Unquote. So it's saying in the quotation that he was an ethnic, racial, physical Basque. He wasn't an ethnic Jew. Okay? And I said, actually, Loyola even stated that he wished he were Jewish. And you could find the quote for that if you are interested. It's not hard to find. Now to the heart of the matter, for 350 years, the Jesuits banned Jews from entering their order. They libeled Jews terribly in their magazine La Civiltà Cattolica, which has been cited as the foundation from which Hitler based much of his racial theory off of. David Kurtzer cites that, how Hitler based his racial theory off of the Jesuit magazines. Continuing, the same Hitler who had a Catholic priest, Bernard Stemfil, write Mein Kampf for him, the same Hitler who was a Catholic choir boy, the same Hitler who was surrounded by the old guard Nazis, almost all of which were Catholic, the same Hitler who expressed great admiration for the Jesuit order, hence Himmler even modeled the SS after the Jesuits, the same Hitler who said he was carrying out the policy of the Church regarding the Jews. Which beckons the next point. The popes have always absolutely hated the Jews. The Pope blamed them for causing plagues, subjected them to torture, forcefully converted them, and ghettoized them in Rome for hundreds of years under dismal living conditions. Even by theology, the Catholics have disdain for the Jews via what is known as Catholic replacement theology. They teach that they are the true church and that the church has replaced Israel, and thus the Jews, as physical descendants of Abraham, have no right to the land of Israel, and the church does instead. This is why the Crusades were fought, and why there was a state known as the Latin Kingdom of Jerusalem, controlled by the Templars for the Pope. So surely one sees how ridiculous it is to say that the Jesuits or Catholics have been controlled by Jews. Moreover, did you know that the primary goal of the Jesuits was to take control of Jerusalem from the Saracens, that is, the Muslims at the time? Why was this? It is simply because the Jesuits are the revival of the Knights Templars, only much worse. And indeed the Jesuits have accomplished their goal of controlling Jerusalem through the likes of Shimon Peres and Yossi Beilin, when the Temple Mount in the Old City of Jerusalem was legally deeded to the Vatican in secret clauses of the 1993 Oslo Accords. And no, the popes do not wear yarmulkes, they are called zakettos, and are a different thing entirely. The papacy does not worship the God that the Jews of the Old Testament did. Catholicism is an idolatrous, pagan religion which has nothing to do with Christianity. Their Christ is not the Christ of the Bible, and Jews do not worship Christ anyways. Though Catholics absolutely do engage in cannibalism via the Eucharist, but again, this has nothing to do with Orthodox Judaism. The Eucharist, wafer, and wine is meant by them to be the body and blood of Christ. Really, it's Tammuz Horus, the Christ and Tammuz Horus that Orthodox Jews reject. So I just conclude, I say, I don't know you and I don't hold that the earth is flat, but it will be quite apparent if you do not remove your comment and recant the position you have expressed therein, that you absolutely do have an agenda based on centuries-old anti-Jewish Catholic canards. So I wasn't sure how he would react to this. I expected that he would just leave it alone and it would just stay there without anyone responding really, because all of his followers mostly are idolizing him and thinking he's right about everything, and they wouldn't even bother to read a critique of anything he says. But so I logged out, and guess what? If I go back to the video, okay, here's the comment chain. My comment isn't there. He removed it.